Have you ever asked yourself, how can I recognize when someone is being overcome by evil? It's a question that many of us grapple with, and for good reason. Recognizing the signs of evil influence in those around us can often be the key to maintaining a healthy spiritual life and forming strong, positive relationships. This knowledge isn't just practical, it also has a strong biblical basis. The Bible, our guiding compass, provides us with clear indications of when a person might be under the sway of evil. It's important to remember that these signs aren't about judging others, but rather about discerning the spiritual state of our environment and acting wisely. So what are these signs that we should be on the lookout for? How can we discern when a person is being overcome by evil? Stay tuned as we delve into the 5 major signs that someone is under the influence of evil. The first telltale sign is an overwhelming sense of hatred and unforgiveness. You see, these aren't just negative emotions, they're indicators of a heart that's straying away, that's becoming susceptible to the influence of evil.
Before we continue, kindly click on the subscription button, so you can see anytime we drop a new video. Also, do not forget to like the video and share so others can also see it. Share your opinions in the comments section as well. Let's continue.
Harbor grudges, when we hold on to past hurts and refuse to forgive, we're essentially creating a chasm between ourselves and God's love and grace. Think of it this way, God's love is like a river, constantly flowing, constantly nurturing. But hatred and unforgiveness, they're like dam walls, blocking that flow, preventing us from experiencing the fullness of God's love. And the more we feed these negative emotions, the higher and stronger these walls become. Hatred and unforgiveness don't just hurt the people they're directed at, they hurt us, distancing us from the very source of love and life. So the first sign is an unrelenting spirit of hatred and unforgiveness. Sign number 2 is a pattern of chronic dishonesty. Dishonesty, when it becomes a habit, is a clear indicator of evil's influence. The Bible is clear on this, with passages such as Proverbs 22 verse 15, "Dishonesty is in the heart of those who devise evil." And Ephesians 4 verse 25, "Therefore, having put away falsehood, let each one of you speak the truth with his neighbor." Chronic dishonesty, therefore, is another clear sign of being overcome by evil. The third sign is a rebellious attitude towards God's commandments. This, dear friends, is a clear red flag. When someone begins to disobey God's laws and commandments, it signals a shift in their heart's alignment. They're leaning more towards evil than good. You see, God's commandments are not just rules to follow, they are signposts on the path to righteousness. They guide us, they protect us, and they keep us in a right relationship with our Creator. Obedience to these commandments is not just about following orders, it's about showing our love for God and our desire to live in harmony with His will. When we rebel against these commandments, we are essentially turning our backs on God. We are choosing our own way over His, choosing darkness over light. This rebelliousness is a clear indication that we are being overcome by evil, and it's a path that leads to destruction. Rebellion against God's commandments is a clear sign of being overcome by evil. The fourth sign is an attitude of pride and arrogance. These traits can lead one down a treacherous path away from the light of God. Pride often blinds us, making us believe we're self-sufficient, that we don't need God. But remember, it was pride that led to the downfall of Lucifer. Conversely, humility brings us closer to God, aligning us with His divine will. It's about recognizing our own limitations and surrendering to His infinite wisdom. Pride and arrogance, therefore, are clear signs of being overcome by evil. Finally, the fifth sign is a love for worldly pleasures over God. The allure of worldly pleasures can be incredibly enticing, drawing us in with promises of immediate satisfaction and enjoyment. But when these pleasures begin to take precedence over our love for God, we find ourselves on a slippery slope. The truth is, an excessive love for worldly pleasures can lead us astray, distancing us from God, and opening the door for evil to influence our lives. Whether it's material wealth, fame, power, or even the pursuit of physical pleasure, when these desires start to dominate our hearts, they can overshadow our love for God. Remember, worldly pleasures are temporary, fleeting. They cannot provide the lasting peace and fulfillment that comes from a relationship with God. Prioritizing God over worldly desires keeps us grounded in our faith, connected with our Creator, and protected from evil's influence. Therefore, an excessive love of worldly pleasures over God is our final sign of being overcome by evil. In conclusion, these signs are warnings to be vigilant. From harboring hatred and unforgiveness, chronic dishonesty, rebelling against God's commandments, to displaying pride and arrogance, and loving worldly pleasures over God, They all signal an encroaching influence of evil. It is essential to pray for discernment and seek God's guidance when these signs emerge in ourselves or others. Remember, God will cut these people out, but it's never too late to turn back and seek His forgiveness and grace. Thank you for watching, or